In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. As that useless word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? There it is again. A small pang of guilt. It's time to ask him what happened here.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here. Well, your station was involved, I hear, although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it, why it was conducted or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. I agree. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. In a way, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built from the ground up to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. And innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty, draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed, the past. It's a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away. No, you must know. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before it was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. As did we all, the lands of the Mes and the Occident, and even far away Supramuindi, altogether 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted Innocentic rule. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Feltherres, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Feltherres placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later, a young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. Terrifying. It's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. Good. Now back out of this corner of your mind by choosing the bottom option. But she was not hell. She is the opposite of that. There you stand, below her once more, with your hands on your side, momentarily.
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text. Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned, or just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence Day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, Feltherres, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the insulindian, on human thinking, a tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in DeLorean sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Not at all.
The mother of humanism towers above you.
Hello, sir. How is the investigation going? Found any... Oh, that's great! I hope exciting adventures lie ahead. And maybe you can help Mother become less afraid.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages.
Wonderful choice, sir. If you say so.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular...
Oh yes, sir. It is a bestseller.
Shelves filled to the brim. Shelves full of biographies of famous people.
A true cultural touch.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biography.
Indeed. Something about that book does seem to have spoken to you. Well, I hope it contains what you're looking for.
Several maps. The maps look old and... Large letters on the front form a title, Wirral. The colorful box is illustrated with bucolic vistas. The cover art also features odd-looking humanoids, some short, some taller, some with pointy ears, others with ephemeral wings. Text underneath the title in smaller typeface reads, 3rd edition, Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel adds a sword and sorcery adventure board game with new maps and miniatures. Mysterious things rattle inside. What could they be? Dice? Plastic miniatures? A fantastical alternate world full of magic and wonder? None of that witless man from Heimdall, fascist dross, hidden behind faux realistic allegory. Wirral is no cliché-ridden apologia for colonial violence. Wirral is pure imagination. It's not. It's for pansies. The man from Heimdall is way more awesome. A blurb on the back reads, tired of the tedium and toil of modern life? Escape to Wirral. Leave behind e-solas and nations with their petty squabbles. Discard electricity, magnets, and boring technological widgets. Succumb to a world of high pasternal fantastique. Unleash your imagination and create an adventure of endless possibilities. Discover the terrible secret threatening Wirral. Can your band of adventurers save the world? Exactly. That's the spirit. All you have to do is read an intricate rulebook, study an assortment of maps, unfold the illustrated game board, and start rolling dice. In no time, you could be romping through grasslands with low-level characters, hunted by Iskala riders, or battling unspeakable monsters in endless dungeons fraught with danger and despair, conjuring up forceful magics to aid your quest. Don't forget heated arguments escalate into physical confrontation with your friends. And most importantly, never forget to rage quit if the dice don't go your way. You pry open the box. Inside you find a folded up map, a small booklet, a 24-sided die, and a little plastic figurine. A reprint of a crude hand-drawn map. The top left corner reads, Lands of Wirral. The map features both small villages and mid-sized towns with odd names, in addition to meadows, forests, hills, lakes, and seas, also with odd names. It doesn't seem to correspond with anything you've seen thus far. It's not a very helpful map. A quick guide to the magical races of Wirral. Create your own hero, choosing from any of these completely unique and fantastical backgrounds. The options are in order of importance. The Welkin, the Tweog, the humans, the fairy folk, and the pygmies. The Welkin, tall, lithe, and graceful, with long flowing hair and pointy ears. They're known for being powerful magic users, but can also hold their own in a brawn-driven fight. The Welkin come with a variety of exciting sub-races: High Welkin, Forest Welkin, Lake Welkin, and Snow Welkin. But if you're not feeling experimental, a basic Welkin will always do. A grand race of industrious mountain people. They're short, stout, and muscular, and enjoy digging for gold and other precious minerals. They're also well versed in the art of combat, where they prefer to use axes and hammers. The Tweog also come in a few different sub-races: Hill Tweog, Shield Tweog, and Dark Tweog. They're just humans. What else is there to tell? They're average in all stats, and jacks of all trades. A very small race of flying people, known for being mischievous, full of trickery. They often lure people into their magical traps. There are no sub-races for the fairies. The least popular of the Wirral races, the Pygmies, are short, rotund, and dim-witted. Pygmies live in small villages made of shoddy wooden dwellings. They spend most of their days tilling the earth and smoking their pipes. It's made from some sort of wood and has been decorated with peculiar plant motifs. You don't know much about dice, but this one looks pretty damn fancy. You place the die into your pocket. It's always good to have luck on your side. You see a man in ragged clothes wearing a lopsided hat and wielding some sort of a firearm.
Huh, interesting. A communard. A communard. One of the leftist revolutionaries in the anti-centennial revolution. It is not. The communards are not a part of the game setting. I guess someone misplaced it during the packaging process. Good luck finding people who'd want to play as communard.
You pick the figurine up by the base to meet your gaze. The little plastic man stares back at you, his face contorted into a disturbing shout. Then you pocket it. A colorful box with the title Wirral in bold letters. It's a board game. In your hands, you hold a brand new copy of the game, Suzerainty. It's snugly wrapped in a skin of plastic. The cover features a charming illustration depicting a mass of grinning laborers loading goods onto a ship, while a richly dressed administrator oversees their work. The exact location and time period are left deliberately vague, but it's clearly meant to represent the economic relationship between the Revacholian suzerainty and its many vassals. The box has a nice heft to it. You hear the rattle of individual wooden tokens and feel their weight shifting back and forth. What treasures wait in store for you? Even before you open it, you can tell that this will be a meaty game of grand strategy and complex player interactions. The plastic wrap rips off as easily as a bodice in a tawdry historical romance. There's a hiss as the lid slides off. Inside, you find a thick, full-color rulebook and more than a dozen pouches of various wooden components. Savor that new board game smell. A mix of wood, paper, and ink, all wrapped in the sweet must of cardboard. Welcome to Suzerainty, a game of economic strategy for the whole family. The rulebook is sumptuously illustrated and thick as a Gradian novel. The colorful illustrations depict cheerful workers picking apricots, hauling marble sculptures out of crumbling temples, and harvesting a strange magenta-leafed plant. Everyone is smiling. You begin to suspect there may be a political agenda to this so-called family game. Only one way to find out. The instructions are opaque at first and introduce many concepts you're not familiar with. Fortunately, there are many diagrams and examples throughout. You soon figure out the basic conceit. Each player represents an administrator for the suzerain of Revachol. Your objective is to increase the suzerain's wealth and renown by accumulating victory points. That's where the suzerain's vassals come in. The game features 4 vassal nations, each one home to an economically important resource. Each turn, the player collects resources from vassals where they've placed workers. They may then rearrange their workers, fulfill contracts for coin and bonuses, or build structures back in Revachol. The actual scoring system appears infinitely complex, with a series of tables and appendices required to compute each player's final victory point total. You skip that part for now. You open up a number of pouches containing wooden tokens. There are also several punch boards with other cardboard components that will need to be punched out before you can play. Each cardboard token makes a satisfying tsk as you pop it out. Soon, a neat pile of cardboard coins and counters has accumulated before you.
What? You're not going to offer to let me punch any of them out?
In addition to the worker and building tokens used by each player, there are also several piles of colorful resource tokens, each representing one of the game's 4 principal resources. From the Empire of Feltherre, orange apricot tokens. From Ilmarat, the ancestral name of Ilmara, gray marble block tokens. From the Semenine Islands, white sacks of sugar tokens. And from Supramuindi and Sarah Maritza, magenta tokens for unprocessed cocaine leaves.
Oh, those are nice.
You hold the open game box before you. The lieutenant looks over the rulebook before he sees something that makes his eyes go wide.
Holy shit. The average playing time for this game is 1 to 6 hours. I'm not sure we can afford to set aside that kind of time for a game.
What is detective work if not an elaborate game? You need logical inference, attention to detail, the ability to analyze your opponent's motives.
I do feel like my thinking has become somewhat rigid. Maybe a little diversion to keep the mind limber is just what's in order.
see? He's doing the hard work himself. All he needed was a little nudge.
All right, you've convinced me. How do we play?
You explain the basic setup procedures to the lieutenant, who seems to be a quick study. You each take your bag of tokens and counters and unfold the board between you. In the center is the crown of Revachol. Radiating outward are her colorful vessels, each one supplying some raw material desired by the suzerain. Apricots from Feltherre, archaeological treasures from Ilmarat, sugars from the Seminine Islands, and magenta cocaine from Supra Muindi and Sara Maritza. There's also a neat little log to keep track of your progress in case you need to put the game away and return to it later. The lieutenant goes first. He draws a contract card and moves several of his workers to the Feltherre territory of the board, and the others to the Seminine Islands.
All right, detective, your turn.
You have a few options available to you. Will you try to fulfill contracts right away or rearrange your workers to maximize production on future turns? What is the very beginning of the game? Your workers haven't even done any work yet. That's more like it. You produce a handful of archaeological treasures and a smattering of other resources. Meanwhile, the lieutenant spends 2 of his sugar and 1 of his apricot tokens to complete his contract card. He is rewarded with 4 coins and a round wooden token that he places in the center of the board.
That's a market. It's worth 2 victory points. Don't worry, it was mostly just luck. You'll earn some points soon enough.
What is that patronizing tone? You're one of the suzerain's trust. The lieutenant returns your baleful look with a satisfied grin. Glancing over the board, you see several possible strategies. Pressing more workers into service would increase your economic output and help you to survive a possible conflict with the lieutenant. Or you could ignore your labor supply and focus on fulfilling contracts for points and resources. Those aren't your only options. You could also show your workers how much you appreciate them by investing some of that wealth in them. Well, sure, you can do that. It's just, who cares about workers or territories when the real action is in Revachol? You spend your turns fulfilling contracts for sweet coins and one-time bonuses. After several turns, you have a neat pile of cardboard coins and several units of archaeological treasure, which you trade in to build a museum. You place a cylindrical piece of wood on the Revachol section in the middle of the board. It's meant to stand in for a beautifully adorned edifice filled with ancient wonders. This is more or less what happened in real life as well. To this day, if Ilmarans want to see their nation's priceless treasures, they have to visit Revachol, or Gottwald, or Sur-le-Clay.
Well played, detective. That museum is worth 3 victory points.
Now it's the lieutenant's turn to respond. He moves aggressively onto the Feltherre territory. Soon, his workers are producing a steady supply of extremely valuable apricots. For several turns, you struggle to respond to the lieutenant's burgeoning apricot empire. Eventually, you relocate the majority of your workers to Supramuindi and Sara Maritza, where they begin producing a bumper crop of cocaine tokens. You draw a new contract card. According to the text, there's an aristocrat willing to trade a large supply of cocaine for a number of coins and access to a rare bonus. Amplified music worth 7 victory points. You know, this isn't unlike the situation the historical Revachol. Well, the suzerain was looking for new markets for all the cocaine it was producing, and it settled on Feltherre. By introducing cocaine into Feltherre under exclusive contract, the suzerain created an extremely valuable captive market for an extremely addictive product. If you could somehow get the lieutenant's workers addicted to your cocaine, you could not only make them less productive, you would also force the lieutenant to pay. Yes, you can. It's right there in the rules. Now's your chance. Show the lieutenant what happens when he patronizes you. You've reached a critical strategic juncture. How do you respond to the lieutenant's aggression? With each passing turn, you slowly bleed the lieutenant of coins as his own workers become less productive and more dependent on your magenta cocaine tokens. As a matter of historical fact, this is almost exactly what happened in Feltherre. To this day, fully half of the former Feltherre Empire remains dependent on international aid in exchange for a steady supply of cheap produce.
More or less.
Realizing victory is slipping away, the lieutenant launches a desperate gambit: protectionism. By erecting tariffs on your cocaine, he hopes to starve you out of the market at the risk of incurring the suzerain's disfavor. The end game is upon you. Do you escalate the trade war with the lieutenant in hopes of crushing him with your economic might? Or do you ignore his aggression and focus on building the mighty victory column structure in Revachol herself? Alternatively, you could throw the whole game away by trying to build a public education system for the children of your workers. The choice is yours. Building the ultimate structure requires diligent economic planning. Rather than build a glorious monument to Revachol's economic superiority, you have to settle for a handful of post offices and school for the blind.
A risky gambit, detective. Sorry it didn't pay off. That might have helped, yes. Now, let's tally up the scores.
Computing the final scores is almost a game unto itself. You each spend an inordinate amount of time making stacks of coins, consulting tables, and struggling with basic addition and multiplication. After double, then triple checking your maths, you have your final score: 15 victory points. The suzerain will not be impressed.
I've got 26 points. Don't be glum, detective. There's always next time. Figuratively, I mean. There's no way we have time to play this game again. Now, let's clean up and get back to work.
You hold the open game box before you.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy, there's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
This person Glenn wants to hire, he really respects her.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. And what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. And you're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this eighth...
Like hell you have. There is no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are in Precinct 41 Kilos.
We'll do that. In the meantime, did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock? The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprint. Detective.
No, the thunder is his. Leave it to the lieutenant.
Thank you. You're right, Titus. There is no local drug trade because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade.
That's a mighty interesting theory. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong, state-run monopoly would outcompete the runts on the street.
Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you would do. To get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies.
You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly. For the good of the community, of course.
Yes, but that just sends everyone else to Jamrock, doesn't it?
We haven't done anything, but theoretically, it has to be someone's problem, so it might as well be yours.
Titus, I'm amazed. Where is the same professionalism when it comes to other topics? You're doing great.
I don't know, Lizzie. I guess theoretical things don't make me emotional. Now, was there anything else? I was sorta gonna get my brewski on.
Not quite yet, Mr. Hardy. There were 8 sets of prints on the crime scene. There are only 7 Hardy boys here.
My answer is... fuck off. Mind your own business. There is no 8th Hardy. I run this goddamn scene.
Finally, you got something out of him. This could prove useful in the future.
And here we go. Back to the usual.
I know! Fatty walked on all 4s. He's so fucking fat he left 2 sets of footprints. Go fuck your mom, Dennis.
That's more like it, boys. You heard him. It was Angus on all 4s. Anything else you need to know?
Incriminating. Now that's a big boy word. Everard? And what did he tell you? That we killed him? Because we did. All of us together. Goddamn right.
No. These 7 honest men have equally come forth. They told you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still.
Didn't they teach you?
You're pretty sure you've had at least 2 years of cop school and many more of active service.
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, capo. I'll say it again. We killed him.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clubbed him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up.
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
He may be lying, but he's good at it. No twitching, no rushing, no uncalled for details.
Right fucking here. The fucker started coming to our bar. Ask him for it.
Actually, they're admirably surprised. Well, this one, but he's always fidgeting, so don't get your hopes up.
Like what, Copper? How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
But you see, a lawman, is something people agree upon. And here in Martinez, we agreed that...
This isn't something he came up with on the spot. It's his standard reasoning, a product of many years of...
Huh?
There was a bullet in the dead man's brain. Why was it there if you hanged him?
How the fuck do I know? Anyone could have shot him. Target practice, maybe.
Interesting, sire. It's as if he's lying to protect someone. He's not very good at it.
This line of questioning is over. Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. Do you think you could do that? Do you
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
Titus, no one was thinking...
That there's any question who's the leader. That's how he would have ended it. Titus won't let him.
No. Fuck no! The big dick is right here, asshole. You're looking at it. Right. Fucking here.
disregard the outburst, officer? None of the boys have any comments on their power relations. That you don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier? A representative for White Pines? The same company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
This is where he tries to sow discord between you two, because he knows the company is responsible for bringing the mercenaries into town.
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out of line. In my hand, he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
This one has a special gripe with him coming here.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hired...
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, "I'm Oranese goddamn Special Forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all."
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment, to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started to come in here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grab one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah, this girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not?
No, you're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter, and I'm not discussing it with you.
Despite the stonewalling, you can slip one more question in.
Titus, do not answer. You have been forthcoming enough.
Fuck off, Carl. She's gone through enough without you harassing her too. She doesn't need more embarrassment.
What are you talking about? Embarrassment. If someone has been sexually assaulted, we need to...
What you need is to get the fuck out of my face. I've had enough of explaining myself to you fucks. He's dead.
As you can see, these men can only take so much baseless scrutiny. I'm doing my best to keep the situation civil, but...
It's true. She was the only thing holding him back.
Yeah, lawman.
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the knock. Easy. Walk back from the provocation. They're armed, and they outnumber us.
Wise move. You made the right choice there.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder. Even if it is a group responsibility, we're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us. Real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
Rent-a-cop. So that's what this is about. He doesn't see you as his equals.
You still on about that bullet? A bullet in...
Indeed. Mighty.
Well, there are so many bullets in the world, and so many heads. I guess it's only logical. At some point, one of them bullets had to end up in one of them heads.
It's bound to happen again, you know? Just statistically speaking, of course.
Sire, it would be an event most dramatic if you were to produce the bullet and dangle it before their very eye.
Wow! He's got it in a real evidence bag and all!
Why don't you go home and log it into evidence? These men have told you what happened.
You know what I think? I think he was shot in the head as...
Around the bullet, man. That's a good one.
All the goofing around is to avoid lying. It's a technique. They're only pretending to enjoy this. Beneath the act, they don't like you knowing this.
Shit! I probably did shoot him.
Yeah, Glenn likes to shoot his guns when he's drunk. Better hope he stays sober.
No, he meant before he was hanged. Did you shoot him before you hanged?
Before? After? During? This is getting ridiculous. They told you...
Never been worried in my life, lawman.
It's not like you blew it wide open, but there's a little crack in there, somewhere.
Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you. Is that it, lawman?
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Yeah, I heard him. The fuck do you think I'm doing here? You'd have your ass handed to you if it wasn't for the boss man's word. Let me state this very clearly, capo. Hello, officer. I'm Titus Hardy, and these are my boys. Hardy boys. How may we assist you?
Explosive laughter follows. To his men, Titus Hardy is a golden god. They want to laugh at his jokes even before they leave his lips. This guy is a born leader. But having Everard back you up like that did seem to have some effect.
A witness?
That's just cop tactics, Titus. Next, he's gonna tell you one of us already roll on the others. And he's...
Well,
This goes without saying, but nonetheless, don't give out his...
it's like you said, Al. Copper's coming up with this on the spot.
I've seen this shit a million times, Titus. Fly fishing. They are desperate. Tell us, Copper, what wacky claim?
That means absolutely nothing to me. Sounds like some made-up horse shit.
It means the whole scene was long and drawn out, like it was from a film.
What is this fella's problem? Sorry we didn't make it more action-packed. It wasn't the first thing on our minds, you see?
Shanky, it's Shanky, right? I thought there's something wrong about the lynching story. Now I know there was.
You don't know shit.
I know you are lying, Shanky.
You didn't break this wagon fort, but you did manage to rattle the people inside a bit.
It's you assholes that feel the need to go around like a fucking brass band. The Hardy boys are dead silent.
Yeah, it's like they put cowbells on you before they send you to the streets. What's with the cowbells, policeman?
They're avoiding having to answer this question.
We were drinking, weren't we, guys? I hit the bottle hard. I was drunk as fuck.
Right, I'm convinced, Glenn. Nothing off here. Just a regular hanging.
Bullseye. Glenn looks around uncomfortably. The lieutenant hit a nerve.
Great witness.
So much bluster to hide the fact that they're uncomfortable with you.
Again. About fucking time.
As you look around this room full of sweaty men, swearing, you believe the place was called Precinct 41. It was also filled with, almost exclusively, men, sitting on desks, talking shit and wasting time.
Huh? You got a problem with beer now?
Not quite there yet. Push on.
You saying we don't help people? I've been doing this job for 10 years. Martinez was a dump before we put this outfit together.
They don't know, man. They weren't here. We had 3 shootings a week, kids dead, fucking graffito everywhere. You cops haven't shown up since the 30s.
Congratulations on the graffiti removal. All I see is you sitting around talking about Monica's titties while there's a rape victim.
So what? What do you want from me? We took care of that fuck.
Don't let him drink that. One more push. Just don't antagonize him. You have this already.
Titus?
She stops mid-sentence. That's it. You got him. He's going to give it up, but on his terms.
You wanna help her, cop? Fine. I'm gonna let you help her, but you treat her with respect. If you don't, if you question her, harass her, a freight train of pain, buddy.
What is her name?
Glacia, I'm on due. She's staying here at the Whirling in Rags, a real pretty one. silvery jumpsuit, blonde. That's Amonju with an O-U.
Shit. The girl. The girl upstairs?
Yeah, blonde, tall.
You inexplicably add...
I don't understand.
Nothing.
It sounds like you're having a heart attack. Whatever you do, calm, normal. Try to forget this little hiccup.
Relationship? There was no fucking relationship. He raped her.
Was like that karaoke incident all over again. Or like some of the other girls he was harassing.
Okay, enough. All of this is irrelevant to your stated investigation.
I know her.
How well do you know?
A small twitch in the corner of Kim's mouth. He has a hunch about what knowing means.
Well enough, Copper. We partied. You mean Revachol? Nah, she's an immigrant. Or a drifter of some sort. Been staying here over the winter.
Don't you give her any more trouble. She's just had some bad luck, that's all.
Shut up, Angie. She doesn't need your help.
Titus gives them both a look. They fall silent. What's with all the silences? It's like these guys don't...
What do you think I meant? Yeah, pretty much. No, we just fucked. That's all. I'm not gonna give you any details if that's what you're after. So put your dick away.
He really went out of his way to seem comfortable with this topic. That's all you're gonna get for now. He's doing a good job here. A commendable performance.
Remember what I said. Freight train of pain.
Fairweather, B500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that.
Officer, what was that? Yes. The victim? Is there something I should know before we talk?
Whatever you do, don't say the first thing.
Understood. You were not in good shape on Monday. Okay, that's manageable. Understood. It is. This would have been good to know before. Anything else? We'll be all right, Lieutenant. This is nothing.
You feel fortified by his assurance. It's going to be all right. Is it, though? Nothing? You're still in for a bumpy ride here. Try not to mess it up. Behind the dock, you see 2, maybe 3 bushes, grown into a single thicket. There's a yellow ribbon tied to one of the branches. Light yellow, faded with time. A tiny splash of color in the blackness of the thicket, hanging from it. Someone hid the key in the bush and attached a yellow ribbon to make it easier to find. It's close enough to the latch up there. One can slide it open and just take it. Surely not a coincidence.
Huh?
And I need the fatty to get his feet amputated because the smell is killing me. We can't always get what we want.
God damn it, Dennis. You know I can't help it.
Sorry, fucko. These guys won't help you. Looks like you're gonna have to go bush diving. The Hawthorne's got a bitch of a bite.
I'm gonna enjoy the sight of you in the bushes out there.
With a loud thud, the old man stands up, pushes the window open, grabs the key from the hawthorn branch, and slides it across the table to you. The key is brass. Workshop spare is etched into its bow. The old man closes the window and sits back down in silence.
come on, man. We were just happy.
I'm tired of listening to your shit.
Didn't even know it was there. Boys.
No idea.
Never even seen it. Someone must have hidden it there before this room became our place.
It could open the door in the kitchen.
It's worth a try.
Don't thank me. I don't give two shits about your key.